This is the Franchise QB Podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to win big in franchising. We huddle up weekly to educate our audience about the most successful small business model ever created, franchising.
Welcome to the Franchise QB Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Halpern, a 20-year industry veteran and entrepreneur. My mission is for listeners to achieve their American dreams of creating wealth and independence through franchise ownership. Every week, we speak with franchisees, franchisors, or vendors that support the industry. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Joining us in the huddle today is Dan Feltman, co-founder of the Garage Floor Company. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. So you're a retired senior trooper with the Indiana State Police, and you previously owned an ice cream shop, and now you own a flooring business. Tell us about your background and what led you to franchising.
Yeah, so a little all over the board there. I guess I like to do a little bit of everything, and didn't really plan on that from the beginning, but I graduated college, had no idea what the heck I wanted to do. My dad ended up giving me a pamphlet and says, hey, why don't you try and be a state trooper? Your family's all been in law enforcement. I wanted nothing to do with it in the beginning. Actually applied for it, got on my first try, and just kind of took it from there and just started running with the state police. I had the opportunity to actually guard 3 of our governors while I was there. And while I was there, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I knew I was meant for something else, and I knew I wanted to be something bigger. I just didn't know what that was. And my background at school was business. So I'm like, well, I'll look into businesses. And I actually started looking into businesses and came across a similar franchise of this industry, got really deep into it, and really checked it out. And that's what kind of led me into this direction. Which kind of spins off, and that's kind of how I ended up meeting my business partner. He was actually part of that franchise that I was going to be joining, hopefully. Okay,
and very cool.
So I ended up doing my due diligence, and that's how I ended up meeting him. I actually called him and asked him, different questions on why or why not I should be joining that company.
So was Jeff, your partner, a franchise owner at the time, or was he working for the franchisor or something else?
So he was on his own at that time when I had contacted him, but he was previously a part of that other franchise that did a similar what we do in this industry now for the stuff.
So you guys just kind of clicked, and there was an alignment, and you decided, hey, let's kind of partner up and see what we can do with this garage floor business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we kind of formed a partnership and we hit it off, and we knew we could be better, and we knew there was franchises out there that weren't doing well, and we knew we could build one that was better. So that's when we ended up linking up to grow the Indianapolis market and start it here and see it as like a test franchise to see if it's even viable to franchise down the road.
Right. Oh, very cool. So let's kind of at a high level, for anyone that's listening that's not familiar with the Garage Floor Company. Sounds pretty intuitive in your name, but tell us a little bit about your concept.
Yeah, so we try to make it really simple for everybody. It's like, what do we do? Well, we do garage floors. So we are actually a residential and light commercial epoxy flooring company, as well as we do storage solutions for your garage. So anything that's got concrete and you're looking for a different type of coatings, we have different options that we can choose. And we transform those concrete coatings in your garage, mainly basements, patios, things like that, into a masterpiece and showpiece for your homes and in residentials, and also light commercial and stuff like that. So we do a lot of like kitchens and things like that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could see with the garage being like the extension of the home. It's like the new front door, even before COVID, but certainly during and coming out of COVID, everyone's like, hey, let's maximize the space we're living in. So I know that the garage has been kind of a focal point for that kind of thought process. So tell us a little bit about you're in the home services industry. How big is that industry? And then how big is your subsegment in the garage flooring segment?
Yeah, so the home service industry is obviously, we all know it, and it goes by no surprise in the entire world. It's booming, and it's been booming for the last few years. Ever since COVID hit, it just kind of took off. So it's over $1 billion industry, and we're just a small segment of that industry that we take a piece of. But what they're projecting is by 2030, we'll be well over $400 million in our industry alone, as annual revenue coming in for these things. So they're very popular. It's more of a want than a need, but it's starting to turn into that need because it's actually a protectant for your concrete. So it's a really neat industry to be a part of, and it's a transformation that you get to actually see it within a couple days versus waiting for a long time for something to be built. It's actually built within a day or two.
Yeah, I can see something like, a garage flooring overhaul is similar to painting, where it's not a tremendously massive ticket for the consumer, but it has a really quick and pretty noticeable impact on the improvement of the space. So when you get it done, like, it's noticeable. It's something your neighbors would be like, man, that looks really good. Tell me about, how you got that done.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, that's cool. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that leads to 400 million in a couple of years. There's got to be significant competition in the garage flooring industry since there's so much demand. So how does the garage floor company kind of differentiate from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, so what we ended up doing is back a couple years ago, we partnered up with Kick Charge Creative. So Dan Antonelli, he owns that. It's a branding company. And if you would have saw our last logo, it was awful. It was literally just 3 little letters, GFC, and people would be like, what the heck do you even do? And it's like, yeah, you're right. So we ended up finding him through Tommy Mello, and Tommy rebranded through him, and he's like, you guys got to go through this guy. He's amazing. So we ended up rebranding, got this whole package, got our logos that we have now. We call it our disruptive marketing. So we're actually going out and we're just trying to be different. That's our whole goal. Is whatever everybody else is doing, we just want to be completely opposite. So our big trucks and everything that we have is big, bright, and orange. It's going down the streets. Everything we do is totally different. The products that we use are on a different scale than most people. So we're just really trying to differentiate ourselves by just being different and honing in on that differentiality of standing out.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen the trucks and the logo, obviously, on your hat. It looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The trucks are definitely noticeable. Like, you're not going to forget that coming by with the bright orange and kind of the contrast with the navy blue. So let's talk a little bit about the business model. You mentioned it's kind of B2C and B2B. Like, when a new owner launches, my guess is that the lower hanging fruit are the smaller residential jobs, and that's kind of where you hang your hat, and then you can kind of get into bigger projects when you have more equipment, more trucks, more people. Is that kind of how it works when someone kind of gets into the space?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really simple model that we have. It's very low key. Everything's structured and built out for you, but it's very simple. Going out, finding the residentials is relatively easy. We do a lot of home shows. We are a lot of us are part of different chambers of commerce. You don't see a lot of people doing that, really outreaching. What another form of revenue we found is actually teaming up with contractors and builders. That way they're out there, they're always building houses. I mean, the houses are going up like crazy.
Yeah.
Once you get in with that, and you get those rapports with those builders, they're selling the floors for you. So while you're sleeping, they're getting sold. So it's a whole nother line of revenue that we find that we're passing that knowledge on to other franchisees to teach them how to get in with those types of people to help grow their business. And so they're not only just having to rely on pay-per-click and wasting money on Google or Facebook. We still do a lot of that, but getting in with these builders has been a really turnkey for us and really revolutionized our industry.
Yeah, no, I can see if you get in with a builder, with an HOA, with a condo association, whatever it is that has garage flooring, or even the other applications of your product, I can see how that would kind of springboard an owner to having a ton of business versus just like hunting and pecking and just getting one-offs through those different sources that you mentioned. So I know those trucks, the box trucks especially, can hold a lot of equipment. When an owner launches, do they need real estate? Do they need storage space to kind of operate your model, or can they operate out of the trucks?
Yeah. So what's really neat about our model is it's recommended to get a storage unit or something like that, or an office in the beginning. But if you can't afford it or you don't want to, you don't have to. What's nice is you can start off from the comfort of your home. If you have a garage, you can store some stuff in there. You can store everything out front of your house. If you have a pole barn, so you can start off at home and you have zero overhead for your office. So it's literally the comfort of your home. Everything is ran out of there. Obviously, as you scale, you'll end up growing out of that. So you'll end up moving into an office. But in the very beginning, you do not have to. Everything is right there in your home. You can work out of your truck. It's very, very small, simple, lean structure that we built in place.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the item 7 a little bit later, but I can imagine that gets reduced when you don't have like a construction project or like a retail space to lease. So in terms of people coming in to operate the business, do you have it set up where someone that wants to be the chuck in a truck that like will be kind of in the field, kind of working the job? And do you also have like an executive model where maybe they can take more of a white collar approach where they're on the laptop, kind of liaising with corporate and, hiring people and, running the marketing campaign, and they have technicians in the field? Like, do you allow for both models, or do you prefer one way or the other?
Yeah, so good question. So we actually do allow for both of those models. So like you touched on, that first one is that owner-operator model, and that's what Jeff and I actually started off. We still own and operate our own locals. So I own one in Indiana. He's in Nebraska. He owns his own. We still own and operate that. And that's how we started out. And so we really like that model because that's where we come from and we know it. But it's not saying that we're going to limit ourselves on that. So as far as that goes, you're going to be wearing all the hats and things like that. You're going to get your hands dirty, hiring a small, crew, one person, maybe two, if that. And then the other model is that executive model, like you talked. And if you have the funds, we do recommend that. So people are coming in and they're hiring a general manager right out the gate. They got their installers. That way they have time to focus in on the business and what really grows it to funnel that. And those are really good models. And that's what most people end up growing into eventually. Just some people end up wanting to start off with that right at the beginning.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Well, it's good that you allow both types, and you guys have kind of walked the walk with operating your own locations in different markets. So you have proof of concept there, which is cool. So let's talk a little bit more about the services. You touched on kind of epoxy flooring. You talked about the kind of custom cabinetry, that kind of stuff, like for the storage. Can you kind of walk us through a little bit more what the service offerings look like that a franchise owner can kind of, bring to the table for a customer?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we offer here that's very unique than most models, we offer our base coat, which is that very bottom protectant coat, is actually called moisture vapor barrier epoxy. Okay. A lot of people don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They just hear epoxy. They know the common term of epoxy, but epoxy is kind of widespread. There's so many different forms. There's so many different levels of that epoxy. So what we always offer is that moisture vapor barrier epoxy. That separates us from the chuck in the trucks and the one-day install companies. They're not doing it. So we're actually adding an extra barrier to that base coat, so no moisture content from the ground will ever peel up and delaminate your coating over time. That's just something we do standard. It's always what we do. It really helps to set us apart. We do a lot of the flake floors. So you see those speckled flakes that are on the floor. We do a lot of those as well. And then our top coat is that polyaspartic, which is the non-yellowing UV resistant. That's a standard across the board of what we offer every residence that we do. And then we also, we offer slat wall, which is those things that you can hang on the side of your wall. You can hang all your tools off of them, shovels and things like that. We have overhead storage, which hangs down from the garage up the top. And then we also offer a wide range of different cabinetry to fill in with your garage. So it's really a complete transformation of garages. And it's really just kind of, made it complete package when somebody really wants to transform their garage or before they even move in. That's what we ended up doing for that. And that's the different lines of revenue that they're going to bring in as well as getting into the commercial lines where they're doing restaurants and bars and different things like that, that they're going in to actually help out with those and grinding seals and polished concrete. So there's a lot of different forms we can do with the concrete, and that's what we offer for all of our clients.
I can see that it gets really exciting once you make a name for yourself in the market and you get those bigger commercial jobs where you're doing like 10,000 square feet. I know they don't come every day, but when you get them and you build the reputation, that's kind of a pretty exciting thing that can catapult revenues and profitability for an owner. So that's really neat. So tell us a little bit about kind of the equipment package. Like if someone joins, they're going to lease some vehicles or maybe buy the vehicles. I mean, can you lease them? And are those upfitted by you guys, or does the owner upfit them, or is there a third party? What's it look like when you place that order for the truck and the equipment that's required to get things going?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different options that you can choose from. So if you have a truck, we recommend using that truck, and then all you have to do is just buy a trailer. So a 7x14 trailer, it can be purchased through us. We can supply that. Or if you find one that's cheaper, we actually allow our franchisees, if they're finding it cheaper, we want them to save that money up front. And then we actually have a nationwide wrap company that wraps all of our vehicles. So they deal with all that in. As far as if you want to start off with like a box truck and things like that, and you really want to start off heavy, you can lease vehicles, or you can buy them if you have the cash flow. But the neat thing about us is start small and start to scale is our growth model. So starting off with a $5,000 trailer is a lot more cost effective than a $80,000 box truck. So there's different models that we offer.
Kind of grow into that. That makes a lot of sense. And then you got some revenue coming in, and you kind of get the model, and you can start kind of leveling up a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And then all the equipment that goes into it, it's very small scale. There's not a lot that it takes. A grinder, a vacuum, a generator, and some hand tools. That's it. Okay. And then you get started. So it's very, very small, very easy to get going.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So can you touch on your training and kind of ongoing owner support? What does that look like when someone signs on the dotted line, they kind of come out for training, and then what can they expect kind of beyond their launch?
Yeah. So what we tried to do is revolutionize the training. As you know, Jeff was part of that other franchise, and he learned from them, and it ended up being like a 2-day class. We ended up calling it a 2-day demonstration because there's a lot of them out there nowadays. They're saying, hey, come out for 2 days, we'll teach you everything, and then you're off and good and running, and now you're a professional. We take training a lot more seriously. We know that that's the bread and butter. Like if you're not trained properly, you're not going to be able to run a business correctly. You're not going to be able to do the jobs or train anybody else to do them. Right. So what we really did is focused in on building a training system that's going to make you successful. Our first week of training, 40 hours, is done at the comfort of your home. So you're going to do that, and it's really on the computer. We're getting everything set up, going through all the logistics on that end. The next week of training is actually out at our headquarters in Omaha. You're going to do 40 hours of on-site training and actually get hands-on. We're taking you out to real-life jobs. We're not doing the stuff sitting on a board all the day long. We're actually going to be doing jobs so you can actually get that feel for it, what it's going to be like day to day. As well as sales. You're going to go on sales calls with us. We're going to teach you the different sales techniques. And then after you're done with that, we're going to ship you home, get everything ordered. Once it gets all set, you're going to get some jobs sold. And then Jeff and I actually fly out to their location and train them on their home site. So they have jobs, we're there with them to get them going. And we believe that that's like the biggest thing that really makes them feel comfortable, because now they're like, I don't have to remember too much because I got the bosses here and they're watching over me and they know what to do and things like that. So it really makes them feel a lot more comfortable to be able to continue to run that business from then on.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a nice comfort blanket when you have the top dogs kind of that have been there, done it, open multiple units. They're going to be in your backyard helping out. So let's talk a little bit about continuity beyond that. Like, what about your marketing and your technology? How do these owners, once you guys leave town, how do they get appointments on the calendar to provide quotes and kind of earn jobs?
Yeah, so we have a marketing system in place. We have a lot of different suppliers that we teamed up with to get them jump started. We have our SEO team that's going to be able to get them on their websites and get their organics, ranking pretty high. We have all these call tracking numbers so they can actually track where these leads are coming in from. We do a lot of social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know much about it. I'm very bad at that social side. So I let somebody, our other companies take care of all that kind of stuff. But our partners, they do really well on getting them up and running on those things. And it's really going to help jumpstart their business for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about the franchise territories. How big are they? Are they built by residential density? Are they built by population? Like if a franchise owner comes in and they want to build a big business, they need to look at, what's my coverage? So what does that look like on the territory side for you guys?
Yeah, so our territory sizes are the largest around for my knowledge in our industry. A lot of people go off of population, and what we go off of is actually single family households, but they're qualified. We make sure they're qualified by a program that we have, and they have to have certain just different demographics. So basically, we put in what we want them to see, and then we pick those 150,000 plus single family qualified households that have a 75,000 or more income. So we're actually giving you qualified households, and we know the areas that we want you to be in to be successful. Because if you just go off of 200,000 population like another franchise does in our industry, they're not going to be successful. And to get what we offer, you actually have to buy 3 of theirs. So we know we want to make you successful, and we'd rather deal with a small group of franchises that own a large territory than a bunch of multiples in that same district. Because we know you need to be able to grow. So having those large territories is going to be able to help you scale in that area to be successful, to be able to service more and more customers throughout the years of your tenure.
Okay, very cool. So I know you guys are an emerging franchise brand, but curious, 2025, how many locations are you operating? How many are in development? What's kind of the state of the company currently?
Yeah, so we have 3 corporate locations, one in Indiana, one in Nebraska, and one in Arizona. Those are up and running. They've been running for quite some time. We have a franchisee currently in Tennessee, and we're getting ready to sign our new franchisee, hopefully within the next week. Up in Wisconsin area. So that's really exciting to be able to come out there and let everybody know about that. And, we're just starting to get some traction, and people are starting to find out who we are. And hopefully we start getting a lot more different franchisees in our system.
Yeah. So in Tennessee, is it Nashville or somewhere else?
Yeah, he's in Nashville, and he owns a very large chunk of that entire organization. So it's completely sold out right now. So
okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And then Wisconsin, is it Madison, Milwaukee, somewhere else?
Yeah, so it's Madison. It's just to the west of Milwaukee area, and then some smaller towns just to the west of that as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they perform, because like Nashville is obviously a ton of growth, a ton of new development. Like that is literally, if I could think about a market that'd be great for your concept, I think that would be on my short list. And then you have Madison. I went out there last year for the first time. Really awesome town. And I don't know, where they are in terms of their current growth, but it just seems like a smaller market where you can kind of juxtapose a mature market like Nashville with something that's just a little bit smaller.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see the growth.
Yeah. So, what are you guys looking for in a franchise owner? Do you have like an avatar of someone that's like, hey, if you have these characteristics or this background, we think you're going to be great at this?
Yeah, so when we actually go through the process, I actually interview a lot of them. Jeff does at the very end, but I interview them in the very beginning. So I'm kind of looking for that really entrepreneurial spirit that's kind of like a go-getter that really just wants to make a difference. It's a different breed. When you're an emerging brand and you're so small, to get started, you need that certain unique person that has that capability, that drive, that wants to grow and put their footprint on you. And what's nice about our concept is being the first ones in, you get that first pick of where the locations you want, whatever you want to put your footprint on, different options and things like that. So we're kind of looking for those entrepreneurials that are like that, like-minded like us, that really want to go out and work hard to get things done. They're not afraid to join different organizations and talk to different people and just kind of be an outgoing type of person. And just that that they may have a little bit of, sales backgrounds. That's a plus. You don't have to have that. We'll train y'all in all those. We just want somebody that's really wants to be a better person in their life. And that's who we're kind of looking for
Cool.
to get it going.
I appreciate that. I'm looking for like an ambitious go-getter, kind of high energy, like not afraid to communicate, connect with people, good communicator. It sounds like those are things that would work well in your model.
Absolutely.
So let's talk item 7. How much does it cost to launch a location? Like single territory, I know when you add on additional territories, there's more fees to kind of lock down the geography. But what's it cost to kind of get in with the variance of like leasing and buying?
Yeah, so on a very, very low end, just to get started, so somebody just coming in right at the gate, you can get in as low as $133,000. That includes everything, your franchise fee, all your equipment, the leased vehicles, you name it, it includes it. It is a full business and a package, and here you go, and you're off and running. Obviously, it can go up from that, up to like 300 some thousand, but the low end's 133,000. It's a very low investment.
Yeah, it's a low investment. It also falls within the SBA Express box, so there's probably people that can get in with 10% down, so you can use some leverage to get into the deal. What about item 19? Do we have any performance data you can share today in terms of how they've historically performed in like the affiliates?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have all kinds of data. It's on our item 19, the FDDs live and stuff like that and streaming. We just released our 2025. So those numbers came in. We have a top line revenue of $944,000 last year. And then we ended up having I think the bottom was 252,000 out of that we ended up bringing home for that business. So it's a very, very, very lucrative business. Nashville,
those margins are incredible. Is that a combination of multiple territories, or is that one of your locations in like Omaha or in Indiana?
Yeah, that was Omaha's, and they have 2 different territories that they're running out there. Indiana is obviously a single territory, and then Nashville's is running as a single territory as well. And Nashville actually did really well for their first year. They did well over 200,000 in their first year. So, I mean, they were net positive from their initial investment.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a high margin business and one that you can get to a pretty significant scale, and it's profitable dollars, which is pretty exciting for anyone that's getting in the space. Really great, Dan. I appreciate all the information. It sounds like an exciting opportunity. Anything else you want to add to the mix before we wrap up today?
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate you having me on, and we look forward to meeting everybody. If anybody wants to join us, we definitely welcome you to reach out to us and give us a call, and we'll put you through the process and see if we're a good fit for you and if you're a good fit for us. So we'd love to chat with you.
If anyone listening would like to connect with Dan and his partner Jeff to learn more about becoming a franchise owner with the Garage Floor Company, contact me at franchiseqb.com or on X at QBFranchiseQB. I'll get you connected. Thank you, Dan, so much for taking the time to get in the huddle today and discuss the Garage Floor Company with us.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to the Franchise QB podcast, where you're at the helm of your future as a franchise owner. If you enjoyed the content, please rate the show and recommend it to anyone that might be interested in franchising. Make sure to visit franchiseqb.com to subscribe to my newsletter and for an actionable playbook to go from walk-on to legend in your new business. Follow us on Twitter at QBFranchiseQB and join us every week for a new episode. See you next time.
Visit franchiseqb.com to take the next step of your journey towards wealth, independence, and franchise ownership. And remember, when working for the man gets old, you must do something bold. Thank you for listening.